It all begins just like in the original timeline, when the Jedi Council asks Ahsoka to return. Anakin asks her to come back, but Ahsoka closes her hand, telling him she is not going to return and leaves the room. Anakin follows her and tells her she cannot just abandon the Order like that the Order is his life. He also tells her that he understands what it's like to want to distance yourself from the Order. At that moment, Ahsoka has several visions in which she sees Anakin with Padme and their wedding moment. Ahsoka is left stunned, but despite the visions, she responds the same as in canon. I know, and leave. Before she starts finding her own way, Ahsoka reflects on the visions she had, and they begin to worry her. That same day when Ahsoka goes to sleep, the visions return. But in these, the story continues, and she sees how Anakin destroys the Jedi Temple and becomes Darth Vader. In the visions, Anakin tells her why she abandoned him and tells her to look at what he has become. Ahsoka wakes up disturbed, unsure of what to do. She tries to ignore what happened and starts surviving in the lower levels of Coruscant, but every time she sleeps, the visions return. In the end, Ahsoka can't avoid feeling guilty and returns to the temple to speak with Master Yoda. Yoda gives her a profound reflection and tells her that the Force communicates with them in mysterious ways, and that she must interpret the reason for the visions herself. Ahsoka tells Yoda that the visions started when she left the Order, and that returning to Anakin's side might make her feel less guilty. Yoda, concerned about Ahsoka's visions, tells her that she is welcome to return. Anakin and Obi-Wan return from a mission and meet Yoda and Ahsoka. Anakin is surprised and asks. Ahsoka tells him that when she made the decision, she wasn't being fair, and now that she has thought and meditated on it, she wants to return to his side. Ahsoka doesn't mention the visions to Anakin to avoid worrying him. From the moment Ahsoka returns, the story continues similarly to the original timeline until Anakin starts having his visions. Anakin becomes concerned, but in this timeline, he doesn't lash out at the Jedi, since he earns the rank of Master because his Padawan, Ahsoka, is made a Jedi Knight. Anakin discusses the visions with Yoda, but Yoda doesn't resolve his doubts, telling him that death is a natural part of life, and we mustn't cling too much to anyone in order to let them go. Anakin decides to share his visions with Ahsoka. Upon hearing about them, Ahsoka decides to tell Anakin why she returned to the Order. She explains the visions to him and tells him that she returned to protect him. She also says that she hadn't told him about the visions earlier to avoid worrying him. Anakin stays silent and reflects. A few seconds later, he tells her that she should have told him earlier, but that it doesn't matter now. Ahsoka suggests that they could look into the temple files to discover where the visions came from and what they mean. Anakin's eyes light up, and he says it's a great idea. Anakin enters the files room and starts searching. He discovers that the visions can be caused by two main reasons. One could be that you've done or are doing something wrong that leads to these visions, and the other reason is that they might be implanted by a Sith Lord trying to manipulate you. Anakin shares this information with Ahsoka, and they decide to reflect on the possible reasons behind these visions. Ahsoka believes hers are due to leaving the Order, as once she returned to Anakin's side, the visions stopped. Anakin, on the other hand, cannot pinpoint anything he has done that could have led to these visions, so he contemplates the other possibility. Once they've concluded this, they have a meeting in the council where Anakin is assigned the mission to spy on the Chancellor. Other missions are also assigned, like Obi-Wan's to Utapau for Grievous, Yoda's to Kashyyyk, and Ahsoka's to Mandalore. Everything seems the same as in the original timeline, with the difference being that Anakin is no longer conflicted, thanks to Ahsoka staying in the Order and helping him with his nightmares. Anakin says goodbye to Ahsoka, and before he leaves, Ahsoka tells him to be careful, as there might be someone trying to manipulate him. Ahsoka leaves. Anakin is summoned to Chancellor Palpatine's office. There, the situation plays out the same as in the original timeline. Palpatine shows him his knowledge of the dark side, explains that he knows someone who could prevent death, and says that they could achieve that power together. Anakin ignites his lightsaber and tells him he is the Sith Lord. Palpatine says he won't kill him, and that he needs him to save Padme from certain death. Anakin reflects and remembers Ahsoka's words. Remember that someone might be trying to manipulate you. Unsure of what to do, Anakin turns off his lightsaber and leaves the room, deciding to report the situation to Mace Windu. As he thinks about what happened, he realizes that the father figure he had trusted since childhood has been manipulating him to turn to the dark side. Anakin feels betrayed and becomes enraged. Anakin tells Windu everything that happened. Windu decides to go straight to Palpatine. Anakin insists on going with them. In this timeline, Anakin is not conflicted but furious. Also, as a Jedi Master and Council member, Windu doesn't deny him. Anakin, Windu, Kit Fisto, Agan Kolar, and Teen arrive at the Chancellor's office ready to stop him. Palpatine smiles and says, "So you told him, huh?" Anakin replies, "You won't get what you want, Palpatine." Then Anakin ignites his lightsaber, and the other Jedi do the same behind him. Palpatine draws 2 lightsabers and leaps at the Jedi, shouting. The battle begins, 1 against 5, and in a few seconds Palpatine kills Agan Kolar and then Teen. The battle continues, and Palpatine tells Anakin that he is the only one who can save his beloved. Windu doesn't understand what he means but can guess. Palpatine kills Kit Fisto, leaving only Anakin and Windu. The battle intensifies as Anakin grows angrier with Palpatine for playing him. Anakin becomes very aggressive, manages to disarm Palpatine, but is blinded by his rage and doesn't see Palpatine's Force lightning coming, which weakens him on the ground. Windu takes over and the fight continues. Windu manages to disarm Palpatine and corners him. Anakin gets up, hurt. Windu says they must kill Palpatine. Anakin agrees but insists on doing it himself. He ignites his lightsaber and strikes Palpatine down, telling him that he shouldn't have tried to play him. Windu tells Anakin that he did the right thing and asks him about what Palpatine said about his beloved. Anakin says he'll tell him and all the Jedi when they're gathered. They both return to the Council, along with Obi-Wan, who has finished with Grievous, Ahsoka, who has captured Darth Maul, and Yoda, back from Kashyyyk Yek. Once everyone is in the Council, Anakin tells them about Padme. He also shares everything about the visions and the research he did with Ahsoka. He says that if it hadn't been for her, he might have ended up on a darker path. The other Council members don't say anything, as they see that Anakin is very balanced and that his being with Padme is not a threat. The Republic rises due to the fall of Sidious and Grievous. The new Chancellor, Bail Organa, restores order to the Republic, and the Jedi rest in peace, knowing they have rid themselves of their greatest threat. Anakin and Padme welcome their children Luke and Leia, alongside Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, forming a family.